Hi everyone, my name is Dr. Michelle May and I'm the founder of Am I Hungry? Mindful Eating Programs and Training and the author of the Eat What You Love, Love What You Eat book series. I don't know about you, but I've always looked forward to New Year's as an opportunity for a fresh start. It feels good to move past the clutter and the extremes of the holidays. But I've noticed that my ideas about how to do this have changed a lot over the years. Back when I was still struggling with food, my resolutions were always about starting a new diet or joining a gym. I remember when I was still seeing patients in my medical practice, people would bring in all kinds of wonderful homemade goodies and gift baskets. The break room was overflowing with yummy cookies, pumpkin bread, chocolates, and beautiful fruit baskets, which people didn't seem to have as much trouble staying out of. One of my favorites were the tall pink cans of almond roca. If you haven't had them, they're chocolate-covered almond toffee wrapped in gold foil. Anyway, I'd start each workday telling myself that I wasn't going to go overboard. Some days I'd even tell myself I wasn't going to go back to the break room at all. But when the day got super busy and stressful, as it often does during the winter cold and flu season, I'd sneak back there to grab a couple of treats. I'd even take a few almond roca back to my office for later because I was afraid they'd be gone when I came back. I'd feel guilty and try to make up for it by trying to skip a meal or eating a salad for dinner, but that always left me feeling hungry, sad, and deprived. Finally, I'd think, screw it, it's the holidays, so I'm not going to worry about my diet anymore, and I'll start fresh on New Year's Day. Of course, the thought of going back on Weight Watchers, my usual diet back then, caused me to eat even more since I knew deprivation was coming. Maybe you've had a similar experience. You hear about the latest diet or fitness trend, and that becomes your resolution, thinking it will give you the reboot you need. And maybe it even works at first. You feel better, you've got more energy, and you get caught up in the general enthusiasm of the people around you who are doing something similar. But before long, it starts to feel restrictive and like a lot of work. You start to have cheat days or find reasons not to use that gym membership. Pretty soon you've stopped trying altogether, and you get the inevitable feelings of failure that follow every diet. You feel guilty, you overeat the foods you've denied yourself, and you tell yourself you can start again on Monday, or maybe the Monday after that. Sound familiar? That's what I did for many years, but I'm free of those cycles now. These days, I prefer to set my intention to learn something new, improve my relationships, or maybe travel someplace I've never been. That's what brings me health and happiness now. It took me a while to make that shift though, because it's so easy to get swept up in the old habit of setting New Year's resolutions to start a new diet or exercise program. We've all been conditioned to make this our focus. It doesn't help that we're bombarded with all the advertising and hype to jump on board the next big thing. But what if you could make this New Year's different? What if you had a more effective way to make the changes that will give you the vibrant life you crave? The reason so many resolutions fail to lead to lasting change is because we try to change our actions without understanding why we do what we do in the first place. If you ignore the underlying reasons for your choices, you'll eventually end up back in your old habits. Let me introduce you to a helpful model we call TFAR. Your thoughts lead to your feelings, which lead to your actions, which lead to results, and that reinforces your initial thoughts. In other words, your thoughts become self-fulfilling prophecies. That's how your thoughts become beliefs, so you may not even have to have conscious thoughts anymore. That's a habit. Many people react mindlessly to their thoughts. In other words, they react, repeating past actions again and again, feeling powerless to change. For many people, eating is a habitual reaction to their unrecognized or unexamined thoughts and feelings. When you go on a diet, you perform certain actions based on the rules. You eat when, what, and how much the diet says. The problem is, diets don't help you address times when you want to eat as a reaction to emotions or cues in the environment, like being surrounded by delicious foods or feeling stressed or bored. At first, you may be able to use willpower to stick to the rules, but willpower is a limited resource that eventually runs out. When you get tired of all the restriction and your triggers or emotions become overwhelming, you go in the opposite direction and start to eat all the forbidden foods, often when you're not even hungry. That's what I used to do. For a long time, I bounced back and forth between restriction and overeating in a pattern I call the eat, repent, repeat cycle. And when you start a diet as part of a New Year's resolution, even if you fully intend to get a different result this year, you're likely to repeat those old patterns because you didn't understand why you were eating in the first place. It doesn't make you a failure. It just means that it's time to try a completely different approach that gets to the root of these patterns. When I finally stopped dieting and focused on why I was eating in the first place, I discovered that I was able to eat what I loved without guilt. This broke my eat, repent, repeat cycle and freed my energy to live the vibrant life I wanted. If that sounds good to you, you can get started right away by thinking about your intentions and resolutions for this new year. What patterns are you trying to change? And are you focusing only on the actions and results? Or are you going deeper to try to understand why you do what you do? Please leave your thoughts on our Facebook page or our blog. In the next video, we'll take a closer look at your resolutions and how to make them more effective so this year can really be different. I look forward to your comments, and I'll talk with you again soon.